ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and President Donald Trump is on the verge of another massive legal victory. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, please visit that address in the lower right-hand corner. It's youtube.com/@explainamerica. And hit subscribe absolutely free. It really helps us out. Guys, Trump has been racking up the legal victories since before the election, and he's been racking up the victories since the election. You got the election itself, you got the classified documents case, you've got the case in Manhattan that was put on ice and basically ended. You got the case in Georgia ended, kaput. You got the January 6th case finished. You got the election itself, victory. You've got Mexico and Canada bending the knee to Trump on tariffs, giving him what he wants. Victory after victory. But one victory that he appears to be on the verge of getting is very important. It's being run by the FCC, who took CBS News to court to get the original interview they had with Kamala Harris because, well, it looks like they edited it to make her look competent. And they got caught. They got caught because they were silly. They aired two different versions of her answer on two different places. So they got caught. They caught themselves. Now, this kind of thing can get your license revoked. You could not be able to run shows where CBS could end because of this. I don't think it'll get that far. But I think you're going to see a massive punishment levied if these accusations are true. Guys, the new head of the FCC is looking into it because the people who provide us our news, they can manipulate that news too. That's why you guys come here, because you get a straight shot of the news. Make of it what you will. Sometimes we disagree, right? But you know you're getting the truth. Yeah, you're going to get it with the skewed view, the conservative view, but you're going to get the truth. I'm not going to change somebody's quotes. CBS, not so much. I want you to watch this video and let me know what you think in the comments.
It's hard to believe it's been just 2 weeks since inauguration. We've been hard at work at the FCC on President Trump's executive orders, including bringing down the cost of living. But on this particular one, look, I don't usually get out there talking about FCC investigations, but there were some leaks involving this on Friday and over the weekend, so I wanted to be clear about it. We have sought the unedited copy of the transcript and the video from this interview, and as part of an FCC investigation, there was a complaint filed under something called the news distortion policy, and that's a 50-year-old policy at the FCC that applies to broadcasters, so not cable like Fox News. And the policy says you can't, swap answers out to make it look like somebody said something entirely different. The classic case is if someone says yes to an answer and you splice in a no answer. Here, it's usually very difficult to make out news distortion complaints. You don't want the FCC leaning in too heavily on this. But here, as you pointed out, CBS played the same question on two different programs, and clearly the words of the answers were very different. And so what we've done is we're seeking out the transcript. It's due today, and I expect CBS to provide it by the end of the day to see what, in fact, was said as part of our own news distortion investigation.
And then what could be the consequence from that?
Well, look, there'll be the full suite of FCC options that are on the table that apply to any broadcast licensee. We obviously haven't made any decisions, but there's no way that the FCC can adjudicate this claim without getting a copy of the transcript. At the end of the Biden administration, my predecessor summarily dismissed this complaint, but I'm not sure how you can possibly do that without seeing the actual video to see what was the real answer. Was it edited? Was it, edited for clarity and length, which would be fine? Or are there other reasons why the editing took place? So we're going to take a look at that, and we're open-minded as to potential consequences.
Will that transcript become public so that all of us can read it, or because of the investigation, do you hold on to it?
I haven't made a final decision on that, but I do think that transparency here is incredibly important. I do think the American public ultimately deserve to see this for themselves. And what's interesting is CBS releases other transcripts. For instance, the Face the Nation interview recently with Vice President Vance, they released the full unedited transcript there, but for some reason they haven't done that here. And we'll soon see why the FCC, again, their response of the video is due today, and I expect them to comply.
Brendan, just one other topic and a quick question. You have sent a letter to NPR and PBS saying that you're concerned that the broadcast could be violating federal law by airing commercials. What is happening here, and what's the next step?
You know, NPR and PBS, they're different than regular broadcasters. Every broadcaster has a public interest obligation. And for years, I think the FCC has been completely absent on enforcing the public interest obligation. And one of the things that I've said from the get-go is I'm going to hold broadcasters accountable to operating in the public interest. With these two in particular, they get taxpayer funding, and they're not allowed to run commercials because of that. They're non-commercial entities under their FCC license, and there's some potential evidence that they've been running commercials, so we're going to take a look at that. And then where the investigation goes from there will just be led by the facts. It could expand beyond just that narrow issue.
Brendan Carr, FCC Chairman, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks.
Brett?